everyone. Welcome back to BrandsTalk, a show to help you develop and grow your brand in a more authentic and sustainable way, locally and globally. Whether it's your personal brand, company brand, your branded product, service, or your cause. My name is Brigitte Brakowski. I'm a global and personal branding strategist. I help my clients unleash their full potential to effectively elevate their personal and organizational brands so that they can authentically shine. Let's get started and dive with me into the world of brands. My guest today is Chris Colt. Chris is here to raise the bar for building thriving communities for missions that matter. He helps mission driven subject matter experts build thriving communities via challenges. Since 2017, Chris has worked with impact driven thought leaders, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and organizations looking to create a scalable culture while creating new income streams. With more than 25 years as a sales leader, he contributed to launching two startups that exceeded 100 million in sales in under 3 years and a community that generated 1 billion in sales in under 5 years. He is an avid cyclist and finished in the top 20% of one of the hardest mountain bike races in North America, the Leadville 100. I warmly welcome Chris Colt. Welcome to BrandsTalk.
Thank you, Bridget. This has been an interesting start, hasn't it? We apologize we're a little late. We had some technology issues on my end that we had to address. So I'm on a little bit of an angle because I'm on my phone versus my Mac. So I want to apologize to everybody for that. But I'm excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for the great intro. And, this is so fun because we're both on two different sides of the pond right now, right? Here I am in the US and look where you are right now. So I think that's great also. And thank you for everybody who's joining us today. I'm really, really looking forward to this. I see we're live on LinkedIn. I see normally I have this set up so I can look at my screen and see everybody on LinkedIn because I want to watch some of the comments as we go along. So if you're on LinkedIn, let us know where you're coming in from. Give us a shout out and we'll give you a shout out back. And you'll see me look over there every so often, not ignoring you if I do that.
Exactly. Yes, we want to know that. And whether you're also an avid cyclist, maybe a mountain biker. I'm a mountain biker too. I love
Yes.
it. I never go for competition. It's nothing for me on a mountain bike, but in other things though.
Absolutely.
All right. So I would like to know a little bit about your personal brand story. So your story that got you where you are at now. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so my background's in corporate sales, corporate technology, spent a long time helping a lot of startups launch their brand, move forward in their businesses. And I learned a lot along that. Actually what we're doing this technology here, my first sales position was actually in the video conferencing world. So I used to help companies, a lot of the big pharmaceutical companies, a lot of the big financial firms connect with each other over video conferencing. So like we'd wave like this and it'd take like 10 minutes before you see that wave and talk back. But it was all about, bringing people together for collaboration and helping them launch new things and build their businesses. As time went on, I just, after 25 years, was unfulfilled in corporate sales, just was sick of driving quotas and not focusing on what I really was focused on, which was relationship building. So there just came that point that it made sense. Hey, let's go all in. And, you mentioned the Leadville 100, which that's the outline of it right there. It's the hardest mountain bike race in North America. It was a pinnacle moment in life. It was a moment when I crossed that finish line. I knew life going forward was about making an impact versus just making a living. I jumped all into entrepreneurship. I was always known as the LinkedIn guy, and I love LinkedIn, meet amazing people on there. But I didn't want my brand to revolve around that. So as time went on, I really started looking at different ways. How can I help people? What can I do to take those that are, I got stuck in my business. I literally got stuck where I was like, wow, I had no clients coming in, no revenue coming in. I'm an entrepreneur. I got a family to support. What can I start doing differently? And really what happened right around the COVID days was, wow, I attended a 5-day challenge, understood that framework was just amazing. It was what I like to call an experience moment where I got to experience the person teaching me what he was because he knew something that was very complicated to me. and he was making it very easy in a short window of time. I hired him as a coach, took my knowledge of LinkedIn, started building 5-day challenges and then communities on the other side. And I'll never forget, I was using it for my own LinkedIn programs. But what ended up happening is I had a client who was on a challenge one day and he said, Chris, can you do me a favor? I'll join your LinkedIn program. That's great. I want you to do exactly what you did with this challenge for me. Can you build me one? Lo and behold, we're over almost 60 of these things now between myself and clients over the last 2 years. And we use them to give that experience funnel for people, like where they can hop on, experience who the presenter is, what they're about. They get mini breakthroughs each day. And by the end of that, there's two things that happen. Some go into larger programs,
Mhm.
but others go into communities. And to me, community is the essence of what we're all about, where you can collaborate with others and have transformation and to make a bigger impact in this world.
Okay. Wow, that's a great story. I mean, a turning point basically on top of the mountain, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of your private life was inspiration for the business that you want to start it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that this is very often the case with entrepreneurs that they have a certain experience in their life that was so magical, that was so significant that we just switch gears and think about, yeah, the life is not endless. We want to do something that has a greater meaning, that is having a higher purpose. And very often we are in a stage of the life, okay, I don't want to do that, what I have done the last 25 years. There needs to be something else that has more meaning in life, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's start at the beginning. You've already started talking about challenges. So that's what you do. And you're also called the challenge champion. And from a branding um, strategist's perspective, a name is something that is very crucial. It's got meaning. It's one of the brand elements that make a brand identity. So, how did you come up with the challenge champion?
Well, it's really interesting. That is one of the best questions. Not too many people ask me that. Obviously, being an athlete, right? I've been around what I like to consider a lot of champions. To me, anybody that goes out and sets a goal, it doesn't matter when you achieve whatever it is from an athletic standpoint. If you cross that finish line that you went after, you're a champion in my eyes. It doesn't matter when you did it. And you know what? If you don't cross the finish line and you learn from that experience, you're still a champion because you pushed yourself. So what happened was when I launched this whole challenge program, I actually started with the name Challenge Sherpa because I liked the name Sherpa. And then as time went on, it clicked. I'm creating champions out there because these people, what they're doing when they learn the framework that I have and they go implement it, they're out there changing lives. They're making an impact on transformation on people's lives and companies' lives. So it's like, these are a bunch of challenge champs. So I tweaked everything very early on in my branding to the challenge champion, and it fits my persona really well, being an athlete. But I love seeing people cross finish lines. As a cyclist, I've helped many people when we call the peloton, right? To me, that's where I first found community, the cycling peloton. That's when all
Yeah.
the riders are together and they help each other. I've helped a lot of friends win bike races. I'm not the biggest sprinter, so I'd have to get way ahead early to have my own wins. But it always excited me to see somebody I knew cross a finish line when they went after it. So now here I am in a different way. When I understand what a person really wants to accomplish in life, the kind of impact they want to make, I know I can help them become that champion for somebody else out there.
Hmm. That's beautiful. Great. Yeah, so I'm really very particular about brand names. This is something that excites me, and so that's why I'm always asking these kind of questions, especially when a brand name is so significant as yours. All right, so now let's talk about challenges. So tell me, for anyone who has never done a challenge,
Yeah.
we do challenges. What does it help me with? And yeah, I'm sure there are different motives behind why you want to do that, maybe growing your community or building a strong connection with your clients or getting leads at all. So, what is this all about? Let's start at the beginning.
Oh man, there's so like this is a conversation we can have for a long time, just so you
Okay.
know. But when you really look at, let's just take it back from the step back, because a lot of people always ask me this question. So here's the question, Chris, will a challenge work for me? And I come back with, do you solve a problem in this world? Yes. Okay, now let's define how we build a challenge around that problem. And then we go educate the marketplace. So to me, the easiest way to describe it from a marketing perspective, it's a taste and see approach. So imagine you went into a grocery store. You know how on the weekends they have, hey, taste this, taste that. Oh, that's good. Whoop, don't like that. And then by the end, you're buying the stuff you like, right? Because you just went through that process. To me, the challenge model is a taste and see marketing approach where you have a zone of genius. So there's things I know, the framework of challenges, the frameworks of building a community, which a lot of people on the outside, that can be very complex and not understand it. So what I do is I take those pieces into little bite-sized nuggets and each day teach them something that gives them a mini breakthrough each and every day. So
Mm.
they come into the challenge, maybe completely clueless on what this looks like, or maybe have some knowledge, but they want to gain more knowledge and gain clarity. So what you're doing is walking people through day by day, however you design it. I mean, I like the 5-day challenge model, but we've seen them 7 days, 10, 12 days. It's you got to design it differently. But at the end of the day, you're bringing people through a process each day where you're giving them more clarity on something that's a little confusing to them, and they have these mini breakthroughs each day. So they're actually, wow, I like this. And what ends up happening in a challenge is two things. The first thing is before a person is going to be willing to work, with you from a branding perspective, they need to have confidence in themselves that they can actually implement what you're teaching them. So when they get that confidence, they know they can do it. They start to trust themselves. And when they have that trust, they're like, oh, Bridget's the one that taught me all this. What's Bridget got next? So then what we see at the end of the challenge is, depending how it's structured, there's going to be an offer made. And that offer will make complete sense based on what the challenge was. And you'll have individuals who want to go into that offer and move forward with you so you can coach them. Or, if you have different products that you can bring them through. What it turns into on the other side is wide and deep. But I just love it because it's what I love to call, you're going to hear me say this a lot as you ask questions, the experience funnel. You know, this day and age, before people put their credit card across a finish line to work with somebody, they want to have an experience with them. They want to know, can Chris really help me? Can Bridget really help me? Can Michelle really help me?
Mhm.
Can they really do this for me? And when they have that experience and they see that happen, they can envision their future, then they'll start to work with you. So
Mhm.
to me, it's all about creating an experience that creates a breakthrough.
Okay, so there are several questions that are coming up. How
Yeah.
long should a challenge be for someone who starts a challenge the first time? And does it work in all industries? So
Okay.
that would be a question that comes from everywhere because there are some topics that you might teach that are more sensitive and you don't want to share. So
Yep.
how does that work?
So from the timing perspective, I love 5 days because to me, over 5 days, a person can start to experience that mini breakthrough, like what it is. They get to experience working with you, right? They get to see how you operate. I've seen them go longer. I'm not big on a challenge going through the weekend because when that happens, people tune out. Like, 5 days straight. We've done a lot. We've done 3-day challenges. We've done 4-day challenges. But when I look back at the statistics, the 5-day challenge is the one that tends to produce the greatest results. Now, if you're doing something in the fitness world or totally different, that makes complete sense. We've done 21-day challenges, 30-day challenges, 60, 90, right? Those have because to get the results out of those, there's going to be some more long-term habits you have to change. And I completely understand that. But when you're going at if you're a LinkedIn coach and you want to teach somebody a framework around LinkedIn, you're not going to do that over 30 days. You're going to do that in a 5-day window to teach what you can to give people that a little bit of experience.
Okay. And when it comes to challenges, is should I go for a challenge instead of a webinar or instead of a, let's say, a 2-day workshop when I want to use a challenge that is part of a funnel and leads to a higher sales ticket?
Yeah. So you asked me, I'm going to answer that. You did ask me a question. Will a challenge work for any
Yeah,
industry?
we're
If
coming
it
back
see
to
the
this.
challenge design is critical. If it's designed correctly, absolutely. I have friends who are in B2B who are starting to look at the challenge model. Hey, we got this $2 million software package. You're not going to move somebody forward into that through a challenge real fast, but you can step them along the way. So we start to design it really back forward from there. So I haven't seen an industry that doesn't working, because as long as you're solving a problem, you just design, okay, here's where we want to take somebody to. How do we break it down so we can move them forward in little bits and pieces? So yes, it does work. We've seen them in retail. We've seen them obviously in coaching. Coaching is great. Thought leadership, things around that way, membership communities, all sorts of different ways. So I wanted to make sure I didn't leave that open. I'm very good at answering questions. Now, on the other end, I'm just going to tell you, okay, the word webinar is all pre-COVID stuff, and I don't like using the COVID word anymore, but I'm going to occasionally, right? But
We have to use
this
it.
is, I'm telling you right now, these are the things I'm not seeing work. If somebody sees the word webinar, they don't hop on anymore. I don't hop on a webinar for the life of me, because I just know it's a nonstop sales pitch. So I just don't bother. There's other ways that they're going around that, though. I'll say that. Video sales letters, they're not working now. Downloads that lead to booking a call, those kind of things aren't working anymore. Cold DMs on social media, oh my gosh, stay far away from those things. And then right now, paid ads are skyrocketing. So when I see somebody design a challenge, and it is a funnel, it's an experience funnel, when we can get them into that challenge, they go into that experience mode with you. It's just, they start to get breakthrough. They get to experience what it's like working with you. It's such a different model, and it's what people are craving right now. So to me, that's what's working. We do use ways to lead up to how we fill the challenge in the framework I have, but it's not using webinars and things like that. I mean, I've got statistics over the last year of webinar invites and how low the turnout rate is versus other strategies that we use.
Okay, and when it comes to um, offering that for free, a challenge for free in order to get them into a product that they have to have skin in the game, and they have to
Yeah.
have to come up with a certain investment, or is a challenge also something that I can price, that I ask for a certain smaller investment to make it more accountable for them?
So I'm actually going to put in your comments now, because I see some on here, because that's a pure good example right now. So let me just hit return right here. I do paid challenges. Now, it's not a big number. It's not usually, my favorite number is $55, because here's why. At that number, somebody has to think, do I want to learn this?
Yeah.
No. Okay, great. Perfect. Saves a lot of people a lot of time. Yeah, I want to learn this. And holy cow, this is like worth so much more. So I've done enough free with the VIPs on the other side. Those are great too. If you're very early on, when I work with a client, that's what we do. I'm like, hey, you right now you might not have any people, who you don't have an audience, you don't have followers. So when we look at that, I'm like, you want to do a free to kick off with a VIP structured offer, because here's what's going to happen at the end. I'm going to tell you from all the statistics we have, it's those who pay attention, and they go to the next level. Mm-hmm. If I look back at history and all the statistics we keep, it's always somebody who paid. Now, with that said, you might have somebody coming to a free challenge, right? Because they like, wow, I actually get this. Then they might come into something else you do and pay a smaller entry and move up. So we've seen that, but it's always when you get that person to convert to something paid that the rest happens. Because let's be real, that first moment of that credit card transaction is the moment that's the hardest. Once that happens, when you show value, you can open it up. So I always recommend, if you're new, you start with paid with a VIP offer, and you structure that. And then if you got this going, I've been doing this for a while, I like a small number. Just, to me, from all the numbers, see, everybody wants this social proof. I got 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000 people in this thing. If you look at the statistics, actually the conversions are horrendous on those kind of things. I can give you numbers on that. Versus I've had clients have 10, 20, 30, 40 people in a challenge that paid. And because of how we structure, how we do things leading up to it, they're getting 70 and 80% conversions. Now, I need to say that carefully. We do a lot of things beforehand, so the right people are in the challenge, so all that works, okay? When somebody's new, the numbers are much different, but we get that baseline when they're new, and then we work it up from there.
So if you're starting from scratch, you have no followers at all yet, would it make sense to do a paid challenge? Or is a challenge then used to get more followers, to warm up the leads, to get people sign up to your newsletter, sign up, giving your email addresses. So maybe there's a different motive behind. You have a different goal with a free challenge than with a paid challenge.
Yeah. So in my 12-month program that I work with clients on, we have a framework. Anybody who's just starting out, 100% free to a VIP offer. Okay. I do that all the time because here's why. A lot of times they don't have a community, an email list, a lot of followers. So we're going to build that. And this is the fastest way to build it because you're going to give something of pure value out there that people want to be part of. But the first one to me is an absolute free with an uptick that people can join a couple extra sessions. And those upticks and those extra sessions tend to be another couple sessions where you work with people in a smaller, more intimate environment, or you're giving them more downloads and things like that. So once somebody's done one, sometimes it takes two of those, right? I'm not this person who says everything happens overnight because you learn a lot in the first one. For me, I've done so many of these, I make sure a person gets results in the first ones. We would define what those results are. Then as you get to the second, third, then you might be like, you know what, I'm doing this paid, and that's all it is, right? And that's a whole different model when you get there. But to answer your question, the first one, free VIP uptick.
Okay, so usually it's part of a funnel. So that's for sure. And so, what would I use as a topic for a challenge? Is it something that is let's say, the first step into a program where I teach something specific, or is it part of the program? And then you deduct whatever you asked as a price for the challenges from the amount of the whole course program. So how do you go about that? How do you choose the topic so that it makes sense, so that I get them hungry of wanting more?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, I want to give a shout out, Ivana. I don't know what the delay is here. I have my computer over here because I had to do this on the phone. If you missed the start of this, shout out. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying this. So it all depends. So let's just say you have a course, right? And you want people to engage. See, here's the beauty. Whatever you do with the challenge, you actually get people to engage on your content. Isn't that our ultimate mission? Get them engaged in what we're doing. So let's just say you have a paid course that you want to bring people into. From a simplicity standpoint, I would look at what the big vision of that course is, and we take like what the starting phases are of that course and build a challenge around that.
Okay.
And here's why. Because when a person goes through, even if it's your whole first area of the course, you have them set up to work with you at a whole different level. A whole different level. So they actually go right into action mode because they're like, whoa, I just did all that. I don't want to slow up. Let's go. So if it's a course, my example, I just put in the comments, those that want to join my upcoming Serve Your Community at Scale challenge. Here's what I do. I teach people how to build challenges and then build a community, right? I have a whole 12-month program around that, or a 90-day, what I like to call an academy around that. And what I do is I give them all the framework to build the challenge out and then the framework to build their community out on the other side. So I can take that program and break that into a 4 or 5 day challenge, a little piece by a little piece, knowing I gave them the most critical components. So when they start, I'm like, all right, good, you're good to go in 30 days. Let's go. But I give them that. See, it's all what's up here at that point, right? It's like, hey, you got the insight and the experience of what's here. And, we have 40 in our community out there doing this right now. So you have their insight coming back too.
Okay. Okay. So that bridges to the next question, because you mentioned community, and community
Yep.
is something very, very important for us, and especially an engaged community.
Yeah.
So how do challenges relate to community? So I create challenges in order to create a community. So how does that work? How does that go together? And yeah, how do you start your own community then?
All right. So there's two scales. This is a deep dive question, but the high level. When you do a challenge, let's just say you're doing it, whatever the number is, I'm not going to go giving crazy. Let's just say there's 30 people in your challenge. You have a micro community sitting right in front of you who all are interested in what you're doing. They want the transformation you can deliver. And here's the thing about community. Community is all about transformation, but it has to be a transformation that we can do together at a faster pace, like the bike peloton, where they're all riding together to the finish line faster. So the challenge model builds the micro community, builds that engagement in a short burst, which once you design your community on the other side correctly, then you can build the community. Because the community part of this is huge. Like, let's look at anybody can steal a business idea. You have a business, I have a business, anybody can. They can't steal the community you build around it. because people come to that community to get more experience, to get transformation, to work with others, and achieve a result they couldn't do on their own. So I'll give you an example. The company I always like to use, this company here, right? I drink the product all the time. 7 years ago, they came to market to disrupt the marketplace. New product in the biohacking space. Navy SEALs were using it. Everybody doubted it would work. They were genius. They went out and built a community around that product, educated that community. That community became their advocates out there, and they went to over $1 billion in sales in under, it's just a little bit over 3 years. So when you see that, I talked to a woman yesterday. She has this big vision of what she wants to do. And I'm like, you need a community around that, because you're going to go down all these disparate places doing this, this, this. Why not have a place that's all organized where they can experience working with you first? And when you have that, it's a gold mine. Like, I have this slide that just shows what happens when you have, like, to me, a community and challenges, but a community is the perfect marketing funnel, right? Awareness built, trust built, advocates built, revenue. Those advocates go out. Imagine a year from now if you built a successful community. A year from now, you're like, I want to take the whole month of August off. But you have a thriving community that are paying you, right? And you can bring other experts in, because the cool thing about community, and this is a writer downer if you're on here right now, it's not about you. You're the charismatic leader who started it, but you equip others to be part of it. So if you wanted to take the whole month of August off when you got this thing going, you have other people who are going to sustain it and run it. So that's why I love communities. They're so impactful when they're designed right, and then you scale them right.
That's so cool. And for having a community and nurturing a community and growing a community, it's something, it's your advocates, and that is a way of how you can scale your business, right? But
Yeah.
do I need to have a Facebook group in order to nurture a community? So I was just thinking about that, because everyone says, yeah, you have to have a Facebook group. And I mean, I don't want to have a Facebook group, for example. So how do I go about that?
All right, so here's the deal. No rented land. Write that one down. Do not use rented land when you build a community. So I see people, and I love LinkedIn. You know, they used to call me the LinkedIn guy, but I see people, I'm building a LinkedIn community in a LinkedIn group, okay? Let's just say you get kicked off LinkedIn tomorrow and you have 1,000 people in there. What happens?
It
So
happened.
to me, get off the rented land mumbo jumbo. Here's the beauty about building a community. I go log in LinkedIn right now, and I know you're all listening on LinkedIn, but love y'all. But there's that little red dot that sits up in the corner. Oh, let's see where we go. Like, I'm a focused person, but sometimes I will hit the red dot to go just see where I go. All of a sudden, my 20 minutes on LinkedIn is just gone because I saw some things I wanted to engage in, and I don't see Bridget's content. I don't see Ivana's content. I don't see Krista's content, okay? I don't see that stuff. Versus when you can get them in your own community, a private community. So I have an app that people use. They're in my community. When I do challenges, they're all in my community. So see, I'm diving them all into my community. There's a free opened area to the community, and there's a lot of value throughout that. But then there's paid areas in the community. So to me, it's all about getting them in my own private area. And they know, like, I have a purpose in my community, a design in my community. So when somebody reads what my community is about, boom, that resonates with me. I want to be part of this. And when they see that, they will join that and focus on that. I have people who have communities who, like, I probably spend 20% of the time I used to spend on LinkedIn now, because I'm in my community engaging with the people that want to be part of what I'm doing. So
Okay.
no Facebook, no LinkedIn, none of that. I get it. That's where it all starts. The mission is to take the audience that you have built in there, bring them into something of your own. There's a ton of tools out there I educate people on. I use a tool for my own community that we build out. And when you do that and you scale it right, that's where the fun stuff happens.
Okay. And I suppose that's a so-called paid membership that you're having.
It depends how you structure it. So two things here. If you go into my community, there's a free component of it. But here's what I'm going to tell you. People pay attention to what they pay for, right? That's no secret. So it's the highest level of engagement comes from the paid part of it, because they're showing up for all the things we're doing all the time. And when people always ask me, engagement. Now, you have to define engagement in your community, okay? There's a whole formula and structure how we do it. It's not complicated, but let me just tell you, if you have a community now and you're like, oh my gosh, there's no engagement, industry statistics of a healthy community show 20% engage. Doesn't mean the other 80% aren't engaging or watching stuff in the back end. The mission I want to work with people on is get into that 30 to 35% engagement. And we define what engagement means for you. Everybody's engagement process is different, so we kind of label what that is, and then we use a formula on a monthly basis to track that.
All right. So if someone wants to start a challenge, what are the first three steps to take? What is your expert advice on that? If they want to take action now, if they want to start today, so what do they do? What's the first
All
thing?
right. So one, all right, here's the first one. Little pitch here. Go in the comments the first week of October, and I know you're registered already and you're excited. I'm doing the Serve Your Community at Scale challenge. I'm going to open up my Challenge Champion Framework playbook. Okay, I'm going to go into some details to answer this question on a deeper dive for you. It's a 4-day challenge. I'm going to tell you a hint right now. I'm going to do a bonus session on Friday, okay, because it's a $55 paid challenge. So I'm going to bust out the Friday bonus session to make sure everybody gets what they need out of it. You go in that, I'm going to show you how to design a challenge and also how to design your community. So those are the two things I do. That's the easiest way. Write in the comments here, or you can reach out to Bridget or I. We have the area to sign up. Those that register by the 9th of this month, get a personal one-on-one session with me before they go in. So your $55 is like taken care of immediately out of that, well beyond that. That's number one. Number two, if you're like, I don't want to do that, I'm going to figure this out all on my own. There is a lot of insight out there that you can go down a path and try to figure this out on your own, and it's going to take you a long time, right? You need to get accelerated. So if you were going to simply try to test the challenge on your own, here's what I would do. I would take what your ultimate offer is, and then I would see what are the top 5 simple components of that offer that if a person gets through, they're able to work with you to go on the deeper dive. And then I would break that up into a 5-day challenge. And then, there's a whole way of naming it, what the purpose is. There's all the copy you need to have and all that. That goes much deeper. The third tip I would give is niche down. I'm all about the micro niche. So you might say, hey, here's my target market. That's freaking awesome. Who's the micro niche in there, right? Who's that market? Make sure all your content speaks to that market, especially for your first challenge, because that's where you're going to get the right people in your challenge.
Yeah, it's always so important. I think it's the most important thing that you speak to that specific person that you want to appeal to. You actually walk in their shoes. You have to really understand their pain, what they're going through, and then kind of re-engineer backwards, and what is my singular thing that I can provide to help this person. So it's really a one-on-one, even though you serve more people in that niche or maybe beyond, but you really have to know that singular, that single person, that specific ideal customer avatar. So
Yeah.
I think
Oh, yeah.
that holds for everything, right? Yeah. That was the second, wasn't it? Or was that already the third?
Well, it was the third because the first one was come join my challenge next month. So
Okay.
I can save you a lot of time. That's basically what that
Okay.
challenge has been.
All right. So everyone has to or should look up your challenge. So why should they do that? Because you have something to offer. I see you are so inspired, you're so motivated, you are in your sweet spot. And that also means you are a strong personal brand. And I would like to know from you, why should they sign up with you? What is your singular thing that you have to offer this world, this specific niche, that changes their life?
Clarity. Here's the thing. Like, what if this is resonating with you with what I'm doing, the whole experience funnel? You need clarity in the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot in this head. There's a lot that I know. But what I've learned with the challenge model is taking whatever a person has that's really complex and making it so simple that an 8th grader can understand it, right? And I know that might not sound like, but that's what we need to do. Make it so easy that somebody can be like, wow, they can't have friction in that process. So I'll help you take whatever it is that you have and get it into something simple that you can create for 5 days, which ultimately would become what I like to call your main value proposition. So you could always reuse this. When I have clients do 1 or 2 of these, and they're like, oh, they learn a lot on the first one, right? Because we got to go out there, we build it, but just go do it. We got it all set up from past experience. It's the second one. What ends up happening is you start to realize, oh my gosh, I could build like 5 more of these in different ways that all lead to the ultimate same mission. So what you're going to get out of me is that clarity to take something really complex, make it easy for you to understand, to go out and implement, and then you have a system you can use for the rest of your life, which is freaking awesome, right? It's all about systems.
All right. So with clarity, this is one of the, let's say, the most important things that we have to have also as an entrepreneur, but we also have to have confidence. And a lot of people
Yeah.
lack clarity and also lack the confidence to take action and move forward. What would you tell them, those who are lacking in this self-worth, in the confidence? They say, I don't know whether I can do that. What if I fail? What if I never get there? So, what do you tell them?
All right, that's imposter syndrome. And that's another beautiful thing about challenges. And I'll be 100% transparent on this. When I went to go, I knew LinkedIn up, down, left, right very, very well. But when I went to go build my first challenge and I had it designed well from the coach I worked with, there was that moment of imposter syndrome because you know what? You see, oh, so and so does it this way. And like, wow, am I as good? And I said, screw all that. I'm going to learn who my people group are and I'm going to go serve that group right now. So the beauty of what this model does, as long as you're not afraid to take action, right? That's all mindset if that's part of that. But this gets rid of all that mumbo jumbo. You jump in and you have an experience with people and you come out the other side like, I can't wait to do the next one. So this to me kills the imposter syndrome barrier because you're going to get so much good feedback from people during the process. And then you're going to take action at a whole new level. My forewarning is, and when you get on my challenge, I hear from a few of my clients, some that just went out, implemented the challenge after we designed it, took action, they got places they never thought they would get in the next 6 months because they just were like, I'm doing it again, I'm doing it again, I'm doing it again. And they're like, I can't believe this just happened in the last 6 months. But when you can experience working with somebody at scale and they see who you are and what you're about and how you can help them, it just changes so fast. So if you're listening and you hear the imposter syndrome going through your head, I'm afraid, listen, we'll get rid of that really, really freaking fast.
All right. So, that's great. Yeah, we have to put that all of that into the show notes, that people sign up and just overcome that, push through this limiting beliefs and the imposter syndrome, put it aside and start the challenge. And then I think once you take action and you see your progress and you see that you are successful in taking all these little steps, then I think also confidence is going to kick in. Yeah.
Oh, confidence is a complete part. Earlier on, I was talking about like people start to get when they go through a challenge, as long as they're doing it, what they do. This is another reason I like to charge because actually, when people pay a little bit, they actually pay attention. They actually implement, right?
They
Versus if
have,
it's free,
yeah,
eh.
they have skin in
So
the game, right? So
yeah,
it's,
but then they're like, I'm going to learn this stuff, and they start to get that once they get that confidence in themselves, they're like, well, this is the person who's walking me through this. And then it's all a matter of do they like you, do they trust you, do they like your energy, right? We all have different levels of energy, so we have to. That's on the but they get to experience it, and from your part and my part, that's the best thing because it repels clients too. I'm never going to deny that, but you know what? That's great because you have the right clients working with you versus just having somebody join whatever it is you have, and like 2 weeks later, like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work out too well. Let's get all that part out of the way. Let's just have the people who you're meant to work with and go make an impact in this world with.
I'm so much looking forward to this challenge in October. I
Yeah,
can't
me too.
wait. I know that's gonna be a huge value add to my company and to my funnel approach. I'm so excited about it. All right. So before we come to the end of our show, Chris, and we're almost at the end, I want to do something with you. I do with every one of my guests. It's
Okay.
rapid fire terms. So I ask you a term and you give me your answer that just pops up. Are you ready
Okay.
for that? All
I'm
right.
ready. Let's go.
Good. Mission.
Mission, purpose, what you're going after. You'll never stop going after it until it's achieved.
All right. Success.
Success, to me, it's defined by that's a very personal question. It's not materialistic, it's not money. You really have to ask yourself what you define success by. To me, it's how many people I can go out there and equip that can make a difference in others' lives because I know that ripple effect happens from there.
Beautiful. Also the ripple effect. We
Oh,
underestimate.
yeah.
Mindset.
Oh, mindset, you know what? Focus on where you're going. Release whatever's you're holding you back or you're coming. Just release it and focus on the mission. I mean, focus on the mission and only keep your mindset on that mission.
All right. Entrepreneur.
See, entrepreneur, that's a good one. To me, that's a person who's going out and creating new things that can make change in this world, and won't give up as they go along the path. They're willing to maybe going this way, but understanding the journey is more than likely really that way. So to me, an entrepreneur is willing to stick it out till the mission's accomplished.
Great. And last but not least, brains.
Brains, we all need them, but you know what? Simple goes further in this world, not complexity. That's why I love this model, because you make things very, very simple. And listen, I can make things really complex. There's no denying that. The day I learned how to make it simple, boom, it clicked. So whatever's in that brain, keep it simple.
Okay. Good. So, Chris, where can listeners find you if they want to get in touch with you? That's LinkedIn. Where else can they find you? I put
Yeah,
it.
LinkedIn's the easiest. I mean, the easiest website to remember me on that'll take you to anything I do is chriscolt360.com. Chris Colt 360.com. That's the easiest website, and you'll see where all my websites are, where to sign up for the challenge. I like to guide people there because they kind of remember who I am, and then it just goes from there.
All right. So, Chris, thank you so much for being my guest today on BrandsTalk. It was so
Yes.
exciting. Is there any other? I'm not having the LinkedIn feed on right now. Are there any more questions that were coming up? Because you
Let
were
me
checking that.
just.
It was your duty for today.
Yep. Let me check. See, before we started this, just so you all know, I had everything set up so I could see this, and then my phone went crazy on me.
Yeah. Is
So
there
no,
anything
I think we're good. Good
weird?
questions. We had a good turnout. Thank you all for who joined up live. Those that joined the challenge, looking forward to seeing you. And the challenge is the first week of October at 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, we'll be live for about 45 minutes each day, and there'll be some prep content leading up to it. So the first week of October, 11 a.m. Eastern, all's recorded too. So if you can't make every day, you get access to everything. Go figure. In a community page.
Yeah, and I'm also there, so I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
And when we learn together, we lift each other up, we support each other, and there is more value that we can create for us and for also for our clients,
absolutely.
ultimately, right?
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for being my guest today. It was really awesome to learn everything about the challenges and how that ties into communities. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you all for who tuned in live. Appreciate
Thank
y'all.
you. All right, and that was another episode of BrandsTalk Live today. Thank you for tuning in. And please leave your social love and leave your comments below. And did you know that you can also listen to this show on the podcast on your go? Just follow BrandsTalk on your favorite platform. And one more thing, if you're interested in learning more about my services, head over to my website, bridgetbrands.com. I hope you will join me again when we dive into the world of brands, life, or by having me in your earbuds walking the talk. Bye for now. Let's shine. You deserve it.